I could disappoint Vanessa so bad.
Whatever, bro. You coming?
Yeah. I'll be there in a sec. I wonder what everyone else is thinking about the movie. Just saw the FNAF movie. I didn't really like it. To say people are divided on the new Five Nights at Freddy's movie would be an understatement. I haven't seen critics and fans so opposed like this since their game critic spent 26 minutes on the Cuphead tutorial, which is strange. How can a movie invoke such different viewpoints from people? Looking through the reviews of this movie, you're going to find two drastically different experiences people have had with this movie. A so-so adaptation, but a must-see for expertly crafted animatronics. A fair conclusion. This was way better than I expected. Thank you, Dawn. I wasn't able to attend to watch the movie. Why are you leaving a review for a film you haven't seen? 5 stars. Shaggy said, I'm not reading that. I really didn't know what was going on. A common sentiment that many people have mentioned about this movie, that even in my personal experience, I can relate to this. There are points of this movie where you just kind of go, okay? Like when Abby tells Mike that the animatronics like pictures. So logically, they use pictures to appeal to the animatronics, but nowhere, and I say absolutely nowhere in the movie are we told or shown why they like pictures. I even went so far as to vigorously scour the internet in search for an explanation and was met with nothing except a few theories, which is not what a good movie should do. If I was CinemaSins or some wanky channel like that, I would be adding at least 200 to that counter they put in the corner, because Scott committed the biggest sin in cinema. He told instead of showed. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, think of a really good movie. Yeah, since I'm a basic ass motherfucker, take the ending of Fight Club. Obligatory spoiler warning for Fight Club, obviously. I'm talking about the ending. And also a spoiler warning for the FNAF movie, but I would be surprised if you clicked on this without seeing it. I don't know. When the narrator finally puts the pieces together after chasing Tyler across the country and confronts Marla over the phone, only for the reveal that he's the one boning Marla and is Tyler Durden. Whoa, what? Who saw that coming? I didn't when I first watched it. But there's build-up and foreshadowing. We are only told that the narrator is Tyler after being given all the tools to already have come to that conclusion. The use of being told in this instance is to solidify what the audience is already thinking. Whereas when we're told that the animatronics respond well to pictures, we aren't being given pieces of a puzzle to attempt to fit together. We have been spoon-fed a story element to make the rest of the movie run smoothly, which is a frustrating tool that the FNAF movie takes advantage of quite often. As an audience, we aren't given clues to try to decipher, but rather told all these important aspects of the story. But that isn't to say the movie is trash. To say that would be out of touch and frankly untrue from a certain point of view. There are numerous aspects of this film that put it head and shoulders above some of the slop that we as the public are served disguised as long-form content. But to truly appreciate the high points of this movie, you need an understanding of the source material that has all come before it, because the tone and atmosphere transformation from the first FNAF game and the FNAF movie is night and day, to say the least. Our first expedition into Freddy's Pizzeria was all the way back on the 8th of August 2014. I had just turned 10, and Jake Gyllenhaal decided to literally be me for a movie. You've all played the first FNAF game, don't lie to me. And if you haven't, what are you doing? A FNAF-less life is a life not worth living. The game was cool and scary as hell, but nothing too out of the ordinary. The game was clearly inspired by the galaxy-spanning sensation commonly referred to as creepypastas. For anyone who don't know what a creepypasta were, think of smut fan fictions, but directed towards people who watched a lot of true crime. And Five Nights at Freddy's fitted so perfectly into that niche. But the game on release was just mysterious and nonchalant as hell. Just like a certain niche micro-celebrity you may know. And even more importantly, there were all these small clues and references that just begged to be deciphered. The bite of 87? Oh yep, so that was clearly Foxy, like come on. That's why he isn't with the main crew and locked away in Pirate Bay. All these posters, they're clearly a reference to when Freddy gave this kid a neutron star for his birthday, because Freddy's just like that, you know? With all these clues that needed to be solved, there was an outcry from the public. The masses were in uproar, shops were broken into, babies were thrown off cliffs, but one man decided to step up and take that mantle upon himself, to rally the masses and come up with the greatest theories to ever bless mankind. When humanity finally transcends the stars, all shall whisper his name in quiet admiration. That man? Come on. Do I have to say his name? Unironically, MadPat's first theory video got me into Five Nights at Freddy's. The fascination this guy had with this weird little indie game was infectious. It made me want to play this shitty little mobile game and get off Clash of Clans for the first time in my fucking life and get jump scared by the oh so elusive Golden Freddy. But I like to think of MadPat as a messiah who not only peddled an already fantastic game to the general public, but made it even more interesting through his different theories that were all pretty plausible in one way or another. But that isn't to undermine the genius of the Five Nights. Not only was there a horrifying backstory to accompany some scary ass gameplay, or Golden Freddy just turning up sometimes. Like, he was just like that. Of course, the glorious omnissiah known as the interwebs ate this shit up, because no matter how far we try to distance ourselves from it, we are a sick, disgusting species. And then Scott decided to do the unthinkable and followed up the first FNAF with, in my opinion, the best true to its roots styled FNAF in the whole series, that being... Okay, so the complaints of the first game were that it was quote-unquote boring, or the AI was too easy. So Scott heard your complaints, and guess what? No door privileges. Yep, so now we're a teenage girl who got caught with a bottle of Gronk in her room. Oh, that wasn't enough? So there's this puppet, and she really likes this funky little tune. So gotta keep track of that now. Oh, now there's more than double the amount of animatronics. Cool. And this stupid little fuck that turns off your flashlight while just standing there with that stupid fucking grin on his oh-so-punchable face. Here's an opinion, take it as you will, but the second FNAF game is the best original FNAF game. I fucking said it. It also happens to be the game in the series I spent the most time playing. So connect the dots. Like, come on. The withered animatronics make me soil my pants every time. With the Chica and Bonnie are just, oh my god, leave me alone, you freak. And Toy Chica, oh, I think this clip sums it up perfectly.
She is such a bad bitch though. I will fuck the shit out of that.
The second FNAF game was amazing. Not only do we get to see the puppet, but we also get these shiny new animatronics, and somehow even scarier old animatronics. But just like a Garlors upload, the highest points are followed by the lowest. And FNAF 3 was just, hey, I love Springtrap so much. Love the guy. He's a cool character that is badass as fuck, even though, you know, he did that thing. But FNAF 3 has the worst aesthetic in my opinion. Sure, it goes all in on that white eyes, dark complexion style. But guess what happens when you cover all your characters in black soot? It makes them look dull and nowhere near as interesting as the colorful characters we had grown to love. Also, FNAF 3 just didn't have that interesting game loop in my opinion. No hate, it's just what I and anyone with half a functioning brain thinks. And with FNAF 3 is the start of FNAF's lowest point. This claim is backed up by the game ratings of 3 and 4. But here's where I go against the grain, my friends. I am about to say something freaking sane. FNAF 4 was fun. FNAF 4 is one of the scariest in the series. The fact that you have to turn up your volume to hear the animatronics, who, by the way, are right in front of you when you open the doors, only for them to jump scare you, sound like a wind turbine just started up in a fucking tunnel. However, widely disliked by the FNAF audience due to the confusing ass lore this game presented, and how, even though cosmetically dissimilar to the first few FNAF games, gameplay wise, it's pretty much the first FNAF. Check 2 doors, check the place where Foxy is, check for Freddy, repeat. Basically just described FNAF 1 and 4. But just like a Garlors upload, the lowest points are followed by the highest. And Sister Location was fucking epic. I'm telling you, this was a re-emergence for the series as a whole. The gameplay was math as hell. Nothing puts hair on your nuts more than this first fucking level of Sister Location. That cheeky little C word opening the door is just terrifying. Not to mention Sister Location was just hella interesting. The complete gameplay shift was refreshing. In this FNAF, we get the game-changing aspect of movement, which is definitely a mechanic I think more games should take advantage of. And to say this game didn't also present one of the most fucked up, terrifying, pants-wetting pieces of lore through Enid and pulling a death of the family on poor old Michael. Sister Location was also just widely well received. A fantastic, scary, well-made game that really showed people how terrifying FNAF was once again. Also, I just want to point out that I found Sister Location to be one of the more challenging entries in the series. Call me a fucking noob, it doesn't even affect me at all. Crawling past Blora while she prances around in the darkness has to be one of the most psychologically damaging things I have ever had to do. Another layer of fondness on this game is the fact that during my playthrough I had a few mates watching, which definitely makes any game more enjoyable. Shout out Finn and Maddox. Sister Location got FNAF back on track. Fantastic game, definitely one of the better entries in the series. And to follow it up, we got Help Wanted. I didn't really play it because I have a weak stomach and can't handle virtual reality, nor did I really play Pizzeria Simulator. I know, fake fan. I know Springtrap gets murked and the puppet's now an animatronic and such. Whatever. I want to look at the open world FNAF game, Security Breach. To be frank, when I heard about an open world FNAF, I lost my marble. I could not wait to sprint around whatever pizzeria they throw us into. But here's where FNAF starts changing. The color palette. The color palette of this game was pastel as fuck. And no Bonnie? Come on, screw you, Crocodile. Glamrock as a whole is pretty cool though. Gender swap Foxy is so hot. But the darker undertones we see within the rest of the FNAF entries just wasn't really there. Sure, Springtrap mind controls someone and uploads his consciousness into the interwebs, and the Glamrocks are just trying to kill a child. But stylistically, this game was pandered towards that saturated, bright color, young younger audience market that Fortnite has dominated for years. This is an omen of what is to come for the FNAF series in future years. But as a whole, I personally enjoyed Security Breach. Gameplay was fun, and honestly, like most of the people who like FNAF, I was just happy to see more animatronics trying to kill me. Even though this game is supposed to indoctrinate a new generation of FNAF lovers with that 12+ rating, as someone with a bigger age than 12, I, along with innumerable others, really enjoyed Security Breach. The new direction of the series as a whole was maybe not my favorite, just because I'm a sucker for that classic Five Nights at Freddy's, you know? But it wasn't bad by any means. Stagnation is the death of creativity, just saying. Security Breach is FNAF dipping its toes into even more implied horror and paving the way for the oh-so-elusive Five Nights at Freddy's movie that was near on the horizon. With this newfound appreciation you now have for listening to your favorite YouTuber yap about Five Nights at Freddy's for what, like 10 minutes so far? Jesus Christ. We can positively point at the different themes and atmospheric strategies the series uses to create this fucking scary ass story. Which brings us to the conflict at hand, the unresolved tension between critics and fans. So I've mentioned one of the pitfalls that presents itself within the movie, that being the tendency to spoon feed the audience all these different story points because the audience is stupid and needs to be spell out everything that happens because we're all a bunch of fobs. I'm just joshing, of course, but that isn't to say this movie is sludge, quite far from it. Part of liking something is admitting the faults it presents, but there are heaps of great things that this movie achieves. The fan service is crazy. Along with the Marvel cameos, they just know how to win over an audience in 2023. My personal favorite fan service is at the end of the movie, funnily enough. And no, it wasn't because the movie ended. I'm joking again. It was the living tombstone fading in that had me combusting all over the theater. As long as all the FNAF movies have the living tombstone in the end credits, I'm happy as a clam. And MatPat's appearance had to be one of the top 3 moments of my entire life. I got baited so hard into thinking that he wasn't going to be in the movie, because logically, anyone would have thought that, right? Him crying in that clip saying he wasn't invited? Ugh. Curse you, MatPat. Or when William said the line about discharge. Sure, some people are gonna call it cheesy. I mean, it kinda is, but fans, you gotta remember, eat that shit up. Hell, I ate that shit up like queso in a candy store. And I have to give props to the atmosphere and use of practical effects this entire movie. I'm so happy that directors of big budget films are using more practical effects instead of CGI. Sure, CGI in moderation is needed, but not everything has to be CGI. The animatronics in this movie were as real as saying literally me to a Ryan Gosling edit. All puppet and prosthetics. Fucking awesome. And that non-reliance on CGI paid off for this movie. The atmosphere of the pizzeria was expertly done. Say what you want about this movie, but saying the special effects were trash is as out of touch as a celebrity posting an inspirational video during lockdown. Or how this movie had some real good small details that only fans would understand, which is why fans of this movie absolutely love it. In essence, the movie was made for the fans, which is really nice to see with all these big out of touch franchises giving us what they think we want. Actually been given something that was made for a fan base is nice. But enough glazing, my hand's getting sore from stroking that girthy Scott Cawthon cock. Just like everything in life, this movie wasn't just sunshine and rainbows. And if I wasn't a fan of FNAF for watching this movie, I would have fucking hated it. See, what makes a good movie, or an objectively good movie? That is the mindset critics will have going into this movie. A good story, an interesting narrative, camera angles. I don't know, my English teacher always put a lot of emphasis on camera angles whenever we broke down movies. Narratively, this movie has a lot of room for improvement. For one, the characters make the most sporadic and random ass decisions. The auntie wants custody over Abby, who she clearly doesn't even fucking like. For what? I completely forgot I was on. Hold on, I'm mid recording, I completely forgot I was here. For what? The child support money? She was just very two-dimensional and felt like she was only there to be a conflict for the main characters, which is just lazy writing. Nothing about her reasoning and goals was compelling or interesting. But Vanessa? Ugh, don't get me started. She spends the whole movie going along with William, killing the night guards and playing stupid the entire time, only vaguely warning Mike that something's afoot, only for her to be revealed in cahoots with William at the end. But get this, a complete twist, change of heart, and now turns on William. Like, make up your fucking mind, Gil. The twist I could get behind, but following William's orders the entire movie, only to switch up at the end, was super abrupt. At least have her be conflicted about the change of heart. I don't know. These are the things that critics look at in movies, and the characters are random as fuck sometimes. And to follow this up, narratively, the movie just isn't that compelling if you're outside the FNAF fanbase. ways. There are heaps, and I mean heaps of aspects of this movie that if you don't know anything about Five Nights at Freddy's, you will just not understand at all, which is kind of similar to the first FNAF game in a sense. When we first are thrusted into the Five Nights at Freddy's universe all those years ago, a lot of the story elements were left open and unexplained. We didn't even know the animatronics were kids until the second game, and critics hate when movie experiences are not complete within their bubble of a story. Sure, this movie isn't going to be changing lives or taking massive steps for visual media, but the FNAF movie is a good watch. While both critics and fans are both right in their own ways about this movie, I personally think that we just need more movies to build off these existing story blocks. FNAF 1 was good, but it isn't anything without the help of the following games and stories, which is why I think we have to wait and see how the next installments in the FNAF cinematic universe play out, or the FCU as I like to call it. But the FNAF movie in itself is revolutionary for game movies as a whole. Sure, you got Assassin's Creed and Resident Evil films, but those movies are trash. The FNAF movie isn't objectively shit, and I think they could really build off of that and do other things that aren't objectively shit. But until then, critics and fans will still be opposed, which is fine. I think the objectiveness of the critics is a good yin to the yang of the fans who will just call the movie fantastic no matter what. Balance, my friends, that's all it is.